Okay, so let us continue our discussion for the topic merchandising business. So in the application portion of your module, so a problem is provided in here. So JJ Apparel sells imported bags for women. During the month of June, the following transactions occurred. Okay, so what are we going to do now is to journalize the following transactions for the month of June. So we have 10 transactions here, and each transaction will be provided, we will make journal entries for each of the transaction and place it, record it in the general journal. Okay, so let's proceed to the Excel file. For June 1, okay, first transaction is June 1, received 280,000 on a cash sale to customers. Okay, so this is an example of a cash sale. So nakabenta si JJ Apparel ng items to customers, and the customer immediately paid cash. Okay, so nagbayad agad-agad si customer. So this is not an utang but a cash sale. So let us make our journal entry for that. 280,000. Okay, so this is our general journal. Okay. If you can still remember, when I say general journal, this is the book of original entry. It is where the transactions of the business is first recorded. So it has the date, the particulars. Okay, so our previous transaction, it is not hindi particulars yung ginamit, kundi account titles and explanation. But either ways will do. Okay, so debits and the credits. For the date, okay, so let us record. Okay, it says here June 1. So June 1. Yung ilalagay natin na date sa journal. So June 1. Okay. So naka-receive ng cash from customer. So our entry is debit cash, credit, sales. Okay, if this is a service concern business, okay, our credit is not sales but service revenue. Okay, but since hindi na ito service concern, okay, pinalitan lang natin si service revenue ng sales. Pareho lang sila na income account. But for the case of merchandising, sales na ang gagamitin. Okay? So debit, 280,000 cash, and credit sales, 280,000. Okay. So ang nangyari lang sa June 1 ay nakatanggap ngayon ng nakabenta si JJ and immediately nagbayad si customer ng cash. That is a cash sale. Okay, so we debited cash and we debit cash 280,000 and we credit sales 280,000. Next transaction, June 4. Sold 160,000 bags to customer on account with credit terms 3/10 and 30 and paid transportation cost of 6,000. Okay, so kanina kung sa June 1, okay, it is a cash sale. Ngayon naman, for June 4, it is a sales on account. That means inutang, okay? We are also given a credit terms, 3/10, not 30. So that means magbibigay, so nasa standpoint tayo ngayon ni seller, okay, so magbibigay tayo ng 3% na discount, sales discount, provided magbabayad ngayon si buyer 10 days from, okay, within 10 days from the invoice date or the sales transaction. Okay, so the invoice date is June 4. So that means June 4, okay, so plus 10. So hanggang June 14, okay, provided na magbabayad ngayon si customer hanggang June 14 or within that June 5 to 14, okay, magbibigay tayo ng sales discount. And how much is the sales discount? It is 3% of the selling price na 160,000. Okay. At nagbayad din tayo ng transportation cost. Okay, so since ang item ay palabas naman, it is from the seller to the buyer, okay? So our entry would be transportation out, credit, cash. Okay? Pero sa part ni buyer, if siya ang nagbayad or siya nag-shoulder ng transportation cost or the shipping fee, since papasok yung item sa kanya, it should be debit transportation in credit cash. Okay? So let us record. Unahin muna natin yung sale on account, which is 160,000. So instead na i-debit natin ang cash, okay? Since utang ito, so therefore wala tayong natanggap na cash. Walang natanggap na cash si seller. Instead, magkakaroon siya ng accounts receivable. Okay. Credit sales. 160,000. Okay. So, hindi lang sales and accounting nangyari, may binayaran din na shipping fee or the transportation cost. So, since it is from the buyer, nasa standpoint tayo ngayon, nasa standpoint tayo ngayon is seller. Okay, so our entry is transportation out. And we credit cash kasi nga, nagpalabas ng cash. Okay, may binayaran. That is 6,000. Okay. So, yan yung entry for June 4. Anyway, pwede natin siyang gawin as a compounding entry or compounded entry. Okay, so pwede natin isang entry lang yung transaction ng June 4. So, instead na magkahiwalay, so pwede natin ang maging entry is debit accounts receivable 160, debit transportation out 6,000. Tapos, we will credit sales 160 and credit cash 6,000. Pero in this case, pinaghiwalay ko yung dalawa. But anyway, you can actually make this one a single or compounded entry. Kasi nga, same date lang naman nangyari yung transaction. Next, June 7, the customer returned merchandise sold on account last June 4, 2020 worth 20,000. Okay. So, di ba nung June 4, nakabenta tayo ng bags, nakabenta si JJ Apparel ng bags, 160,000. Ngayon, ang nangyari, ibinalik ni customer, okay? Ibinalik ni customer ng bag worth 20,000. Okay. So, ang effect niyan, mababawasan ang ating accounts receivable. Originally, may accounts receivable tayo na 160. Pero dahil nga, ibinalik sa atin ng buyer ang 20,000, okay, so hindi na natin mako-collect ang 20,000. Ibabawas natin ito sa original na accounts receivable. So that means from 160,000, babawas na natin ang receivable ng 20,000, 140,000 na lang ang ating collectibles or accounts receivable from the customer. Okay? So since babawasan natin si accounts receivable, hindi na natin ito i-debit. Okay? Originally naka-debit pero babawasan natin. So, expected we will credit. Okay, for June 7. Okay, so we will credit from its original entry na debit, okay? We will now credit. Okay, ang debit niyan is sales return. Since nasa standpoint tayo ng seller, so sales return and allowances or SRA. Spell out na lang natin. Okay. That is debit sales return and allowances, 20,000. And credit accounts receivable, 20,000. Okay. So kung tatanungin kayo ngayon, so how much, during or as of June 7, magkano na lang si AR? Okay, so that is 160 minus 20, 140 na lang. So ang effect ng sales return, binabawasan natin, mababawas siya sa accounts receivable. Okay? Originally, dapat yung receivable natin from the customer is 160, pero binalik yung item worth 20. So obviously, 140 na lang yung magiging collectible natin sa kanya. Okay, so that is June 7. Okay, next, June 15, collected the amount due from customer in June 4 transactions. Okay. June 15. Okay, so kanina may receivable tayo na 160. Binalik yung 20,000. So, ang receivable na lang natin is 140. So, ang nangyari ngayong June 15, okay, nakakolekta na daw si JJ Apparel nakakolekta na siya from its customers. Okay? So, how much that would be? Okay, 140,000. Kasi nga, yun na lang yung balance ng accounts receivable. Okay, but please, okay, but please observe. Okay, so ang collection ay nangyari noong June 15. We have our credit terms na 10 days. Pag nakapagbayad daw yung customer within 10 days from the invoice date, magbibigay tayo ng 3% discount. Pero in this case, okay, ang 10 days lang natin is, okay, hanggang June, hanggang June 14. Right? 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, hanggang June 14. Pero, nagbayad si customer June 15 na. So, hindi na tayo ngayon makakapagbigay ng discount sa kanya. Okay, so ang entry natin for the collection is debit cash kasi nagbayad si customer so may natanggap na cash, credit, accounts receivable. So for this transaction, wala tayong naibigay na discount. Okay, assuming nagbayad siya ng 14, okay, o kaya naman earlier than 14, okay, so magkakaroon ng discount. So matatanggap, the entry would look like this. So, okay, our debit cash, ilagay mo natin dito, so 140. Dito rin, 140. Assuming na nakapagbayad siya within the discount period, okay, so hindi na buo na 140,000 yung makukolect natin. Kasi nga, ibabawas natin yung 3% na discount, which is, okay, 0.03. Okay, this is the discount, tapos 140,000. Okay. Okay, wag na lang ganyan. Assuming na nakapagbayad nga si customer within the discount period, so hindi na buo na 140 na matatanggap. Okay, so less 100% less the 33% discount, ang makakollect na lang natin sa 140,000 is only the 97%. Okay? 97. So that is, converting it to decimal, so 0.97. Okay, so 140,000 times 0.97, ito na lang yung magiging collection natin. 135,800. So ito na lang yung magiging debit sa cash, 135,800. Okay. We will credit accounts receivable. That is 100. Still naka 140 siya, hindi siya mababago. Okay? So if you notice now, okay, mali pala. If you notice now, yung debit natin at saka yung credit ay hindi na equal. As I said, dapat kung ano yung total ng debit, that should also be the total for the credit. Okay, so in this case, yung balancing figure, yan na yung pupunta or yan na yung magiging i-record natin sa discount. So, debit, sales, discount. Okay. So, yan yung difference nila, which is yung 3%. Okay, so 4.2 yung nabigay na discount. Okay. So, ito yung entry pag nakapagbayad within the discount period, which is yung invoice date plus 10 days, so June 4 plus 10 hanggang June 14 lang. Pero in this particular problem, June 15 na nagbayad. So therefore, hindi ganito yung entry ng book. Pinakita ko lang sa inyo yung entry if within the discount period. But in this case, hindi naman siya umabot. Okay, so our entry should only be debit to cash account receivable, walang discount. Okay, so tanggalin lang. Okay, that is June 15. Let's proceed with June 16. Okay, so June 16 naman, okay, purchase bags for resale 120,000 on account from NY Closet and paid transportation cost of 5,000. Okay. Okay, let's just change the let us just change the transaction kasi may sales and account na dito sa baba. So, ang gawin natin for June 16 transaction, gawin natin itong purchase but we paid immediately. Okay, hindi ito utang. Okay, this is a purchase and then we paid cash. Okay. Purchase bags for resale and paid 120,000 cash. From NY Closet and paid transportation cost of 5,000. Para para maipakita sa inyo yung difference ng entries pag utang at saka binayaran ng cash. So again, pinalitan ko lang yung transaction. Kanina kasi nakalagay is purchase on account. Okay, for June 16 transaction, ang gagawin natin, nag-purchase tayo ng bags at hindi natin ito inutang. We paid cash. Okay? So this is a purchase, but it is a purchase and we paid cash. Ang nangyari kasi, for June 20, purchase on account. So, para makita rin yung difference ng entry pag nagbayad agad at saka utang. So, pinalitan ko lang yung transaction. Okay? So, for June 16, bumili si JJ Apparel ng 120,000 worth of bags. Okay? From NY Closet and paid transportation cost of 5,000. Okay, so ang entry for that sa June 16, okay. So, debit purchases. Okay. Credit cash. Okay. 120, debit purchases 120,000 and credit cash 120,000. Okay. Next, nagbayad din tayo ng transportation cost para mapunta sa atin yung item. So, kanina, nagbenta tayo tapos tayo din ay nagbayad ng transportation niya. So, transportation out. Since nasa standpoint tayo ni seller. Ngayon naman, since tayo naman ngayon si buyer, tayo ay nag-purchase, papunta sa atin yung item. So, transportation in. Credit cash. Okay. Pareho lang na naka-credit si cash kasi nga nagbayad. Parehong nagbayad. Okay? Magkaiba lang yung debit. Transportation in, pag nasa standpoint ka ni buyer kasi nga papasok sa yung item, papunta sa yung item. Transportation out, pag ikaw si seller kasi nga palabas sa'yo yung item. So, para mas madaling maintindihan. At magkano ang binayaran? That is 5,000. Okay, so yan yung entry for June 16. Okay? Dalawang entry. So, pwede siyang, like kanina, pwede din siyang i-combine. So, if we will combine this one, so we will debit purchases 120, debit transportation in 5,000, credit cash 120, so yung credit mo ng cash ay magiging 125,000 na. Okay? Pero ang ginawa natin dito, pinaghiwalay lang natin yung entry. Pero pwede din, as I said, pwede siyang isahang entry lang. So, debit purchases, 120, debit transportation in 5,000, and credit cash, 125. Okay? But for this illustration purposes, hiniwalay lang natin. Okay. Next, June 20. Okay. For June 20 transaction, purchase fashion bags for resale, 80,000 on account with terms 2/10. Okay, net 30. So kanina sa June 16, nag-purchase tayo tapos binayaran natin ito ng cash. Ngayon sa June 20, nag-purchase tayo pero inutang muna. Okay? Kasi nga may credit terms na nakalagay on account. Okay. At sabi din sa credit terms, bibigyan tayo ng 2% na discount kapag nagbayad tayo 10 days. So, kailan yung 10 days? From the invoice date, so June 20 plus 10, so hanggang June 30, makakapag-avail pa tayo ng 2% na discount. Okay? So, i-record muna natin yung purchase on account. So, debit, pareho lang, debit purchases. Okay, lagyan muna natin ng date. June 20. Pareho lang na debit purchases. Pero since utang, ang credit natin hindi na cash, accounts payable. So kung kanina sa sales, pag nakabenta tayo, pareho lang sila ng credit, which is sales. Nakabenta, binayaran ng cash, debit cash, credit sales. Nakabenta pero utang, accounts receivable, credit sales. Pareho lang yung credit, kaya magkaiba lang yung debit. Depende na ngayon kung binayaran ka or utang. Okay? Same din kang purchases. So, pag may binili tayo, pareho lang yung debit niya, purchases. Mababago lang yung credit, depende na. Kung magbabayad tayo immediately after ng purchase or during the purchase, so debit cash. Pero pag ito ay utang naman, so debit, accounts payable. So, how much? It is 80,000. Okay. Okay. Next, June 25. Okay. Returned 40,000 of bags purchased during June 20. Okay. Noong June 20, di ba nag-utang tayo ng worth 80,000. Ngayon, ang nangyari, June 25, binalik natin yung 40,000 doon out of 80,000. So, since binalik natin yung item, ibabawas yun sa utang natin. Okay? So, ang effect niyan, mababawasan yung accounts payable. So, June 25. Okay, originally, naka-credit si accounts payable. Since babawasan natin, babalik ta rin lang natin yung entry niya. So, we will now, from credit, i-debit na natin siya. Debit, accounts payable. Tapos, ang credit natin ay, since binalik ito, or tayo ang binalik natin yung item, so purchase, return, and allowances. Pareho lang siya actually ng kanina din, sales return. Diba? AR, originally naka-debit si AR, tapos since binalik yung item, so from debit, we credit, tapos yung, ano niya, yung corresponding debit is sales return and allowances. Dito naman, binaliktad. Okay? So, naka-credit si accounts payable kasi nga nagka-utang, nag-increase yung liability. Noong June 25, since nabawasan yung utang natin kasi may binalik tayo, so from credit, we will now debit. Okay, and yung partner niya na account is purchase return and allowances. So that is 40,000. Ngayon, kung tatanungin kayo, as of June 25, magkano na lang ba yung accounts payable? That is 40,000 na lang. Okay, from 80, binalik yung 40, so 40,000. Yung balance ng accounts payable. Okay, June 26, pay the amount due in June 20 transaction. Okay, so ito yung tinutukoy niya na transaction. Okay, June 26. Okay. babayaran natin itong 80,000. Pero kasi binalik naman tayo na 40,000. So, hindi na 80,000 yung payable natin. 40,000 na lang. Okay, so debit accounts payable. Okay. And we will credit cash. So, accounts payable lang natin is 40. Okay. Ngayon, magkano na lang ba yung babayaran? Since nakapagbayad naman tayo within 10 days. Okay? 10 days niya kasi is hanggang June 30. That is just June 20 plus 10. Okay? Since 26, so pasok pa siya sa 10 days. Okay? So yung credit natin is hindi 40,000. Si 40,000, babawasan natin ng 2%. So magkano na lang? 98% na lang sa 40,000 yung babayaran. Okay? So 0.98. Ngayon, so 40,000, okay, times 0.98, okay, 39,200 na lang yung babayaran. Okay? 39,200. Okay, so now, hindi na balance yung total ng debit at saka total ng credit. So, ang balancing figure natin yan yung pupunta sa purchase discount. Okay, so our purchase discount is ito minus this one, 800, or simply 0.02, okay? 0.02 times 40,000, 800, okay? What if nagbayad tayo pero lagpas sa 10 days? So that means ang enter natin, accounts payable, credit cash, 40,000 since wala na tayong ma-avail na discount. Okay? June 28, paid salaries to store assistant, 8,000. June 30, paid 15,000 and for the shop. Okay? So, pareho lang yung entries, yung treatment ng expense, kung paano nyo nire-record yung expense during service concern, ganun lang din dito for merchandising. So, we'll just debit expense and credit cash. So, this one, salaries. Okay, so, date is June 28. Okay, so, salaries and wages. Or pwede din siya, salaries expense na lang para uniform tayo lahat. Okay, salaries expense and credit cash. Ganun lang yung entry pag magre-record na expense, debit expense, credit cash. Pero we just have to specify what particular expense is it. Okay, in this case, it is a salary. Okay, June 30 naman, expense pa rin. So, debit, rent, expense. So, ganun lang yung pagre-record na expense, debit, expense, credit, cash. Magkano yung rent na binayaran? That is 15,000. Okay. So, ganun lang yung pag-record natin sa merchandising. So, ito yung mga typical na journal entries involved pag merchandising. So, una, may sales. So, dalawang klase yung sales. Okay, so let's have some sort of recap. Dalawang klase yung sales. Cash sale, yan yung nagbenta tayo, tapos immediately nagbayad ng cash si customer. So, entry, debit cash, credit sales. Pangalawa, sales on account. Yan yung nagbenta ka pero inutang. Pero, regardless kung binayaran ka or utang, pareho lang yung credit mo. Credit sales. Pero AR siya yung pag-utang. Kasi nga, wala kang natanggap na pera. Instead, may receivable ka, which will be collectible in some future time. So, accounts receivable. So, ganun lang. Next, may babayaran ka na transportation cost. So, pag ikaw si seller, or nasa standpoint ka ni seller, at ikaw nagbayad ng transportation cost, yung shipping fee, for the item, since palabas naman yung item sa'yo, that is from you to your buyer, okay, so that is out. So, transportation out. Credit cash. Pero, pag ikaw si buyer, okay, so, pag nasa standpoint ka ni buyer, since papasok or papunta yung item sa'yo, so transportation in, credit cash. So kahit magkaiba lang yung yung debit, pero parehong nag-credit kasi nga nagbayad naman. So parehong nagpalabas parehong nagbawas ng cash. So credit cash. Okay? Tapos may instances na may binabalik na item si customer. Okay, so ang mangyayari, pag may binalik na item si customer, ang treatment siya is sales return and allowances. Si sales return and allowances, ibabawas natin sa receivable. Okay? So we have our original na receivable, tapos pag may binalik ngayon si customer, okay, ibabawas natin ito sa accounts receivable. Kaya nga, ang nangyari dito, naka-credit na siya. Okay? So nire-reduce niya si receivable. Same thing for the purchase return and allowances. Di ba pag may binili ka, okay, tapos utang, so may payable ka. Pag na tayo ngayon ha, nasa standpoint ng buyer, may binili ka tapos inutang, so may payable ka. Ngayon, if hindi mo na gusto ng items or like may damages, ibabalik mo ito ngayon sa supplier. Okay? So, ang mangyayari niyan, yung utang mo, obviously, mababawasan. So, yung payable mo mag-decrease. So, yung ang nangyari sa entry, binaliktad mo lang. Kanina, naka-debit. Ngayon, naka-credit na siya. Okay? Tapos, ganyan, collection, so cash, AR. Tapos, if may sales discount, isisingit lang natin siya sa debit. Diba? Okay? Purchases, just like sales, diba? Pwede tayong mag-purchase, tapos magbabayad tayo immediately ng cash. So, yung entry nun, debit purchases, credit cash. Next is purchases on account. So, umutang tayo. So, debit purchases, credit, AP, accounts payable. Tapos, pag may return, ganun nga, mababawasan yung ano natin, accounts payable. Okay, so from credit, ang nangyari ngayon, dinebit na siya. Okay, tapos settlement. Ito na yung settlement. Ito yung magbabayad na tayo. Okay, ganun lang. Okay, so you just familiarize with the typical entries kasi nga paulit-ulit lang naman. So may sales, may purchases, depende na kung magbabayad ng cash or uutangin, ganun. Tapos, yun, may mga returns, may returns at saka transportation cost na involved sa transactions. Okay, so that's it. Okay, for the next vid, okay, I will continue with the preparation ng income statement.